You got roll call public comment. Mark, you're the public. You want to tell us anything? There you are. So you're still on. You're going to get this thing done by Veterans Day. It looks like you are just flying on this. Well, I tell you, next time I do a home improvement project, I'm hiring you guys. Is there anything this committee can do to help you guys along, or you look like you built up a pretty good head of steam all on your own? Thanks, Mark. Anybody have questions for him? John?
Yeah, I was just going to ask the fundraising numbers that you talked about last month, needing to raise 35,000 and trying to raise 50,000. One, how's that going? And two, have the donations changed that need?
Well, thanks, Mark. Appreciate it. That's it for public comment. Guys, it's not on the agenda. I almost always forget it. You all got minutes in the email to you. Just need to see if anybody wants to make any changes or corrections to them. They're pretty short and sweet.
Yeah.
If not, someone want to make a motion to adopt them?
I'll move.
Second?
Second.
All right. All in favor of adopting the minutes from the August 12th meeting, say aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you, guys.
Real quick, curious, what did the Mecklenburg County representative share?
She just was kind of introducing herself. That was it, more or less. You know, I'm here. I'm feeling my way around. This is who I am. That was pretty much the whole deal.
Okay, I'm still going to reach out.
Because it's been 5 years since someone from Mecklenburg County has really been in touch, at least with this committee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been a while. I didn't want to reach back out to her because I still have not talked to her since telling her I wasn't going to make the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And well, I'll get on about Mecklenburg County a little bit later. But yeah, that's good.
All right. We also had a couple of pages of division reports, most of which we're not quite sure what we're going to do with this stuff. We're still thinking about it. But anybody have any questions about any of them?
I'm curious, how do the stairs that were cleaned, how do they look?
They look great. A lot of it is just, smut and stuff from feet. And you have to balance, trying to get it off with not wanting to pressure wash the paint off. And I'll say, Michelle and Melissa, my God, they went out there and brought a change of clothes that day and they were on it.
We spent the day scrubbing the stairs with a scrub brush.
Oh, wow.
And hosing it off with some detergent. Yeah, we did it a couple times. And then we used the outside concrete sealer to seal it once it was dry. So it's looking really good right now.
Yeah.
Well, a couple questions for you. Summer camp numbers. I mean, how do they, what was the raw data and how do they calculate over what we normally do? I mean, what percent of bodies did we have in compared to last year? I'm just curious as to what kind of,
Yeah, I haven't looked at the numbers yet. I'm going to say we will likely say less than 5% of what we, normally did. Now, that was a rough guess. I just threw that out. We'll look at it. I have not looked at the numbers.
I can update those numbers tomorrow for you.
I'm just curious because obviously at some point, with all this financial, downfall is going to have to come home to roost in terms of budgets and money. I mean, it's not there. I'm just curious. I assume that are they talking about any adjustment to the already adopted budget for this year or just to straighten it out in the next budget?
Yeah, it's, this year is going to be viewed as that anomaly, especially in terms of revenue. But on the other hand, we were not spending the dollars to pay instructors, which is a big portion of the expense. So expectation is reduce revenue and then be able to talk through it with, less money spent. But as I say that, we're finding different things that we need. And then it's the question, hey, I've got this money I didn't spend on X program. Can we go now, have an opportunity to, do this or do something, another project? So going into it, we knew numbers were going to be off, and I think we'll be fine. It'll just be that conversation at the end of the year. This is what happened. This is why. Clean slate, we're moving to, next year when we redo the 2022 budget.
Right, but 5% attendance is going to be just a massive,
Yes.
that's almost, that's like a demonstration project, not a summer camp.
I have a question also on the notes that said staff is moving forward with securing rentals for fall and winter. I talked about Grace Academy. Tell me about any rentals that we have for fall and winter.
Sure, I can definitely speak to that. As far as crews, actually, I just spoke with Grace Academy today, and unfortunately, they decided to postpone their fall sports. So instead of starting next week, they won't play volleyball until the spring, and they still have to make a decision on winter sports. But most likely, they will have to move winter sports into the spring as well, because half of the teams that they play, they are moving their season to the spring, but the other half, they're staying in the fall. So I'm pretty positive that they'll move into the spring as well. And then we do have some other rentals, long-term rentals with Mara. They'll be utilizing our facility for cheerleading practice starting in November, all the way through March. Same thing with basketball. They start in November, and so they'll be practicing 2 days a week and playing games 2 days a week from November to March. So those are two of our long-term rentals, along with I9 Sports, which is a basketball league. And then we have a lot of basketball training organizations and groups, a lot of AAU teams that are, taking advantage of, not having high school sports, to use this time to do AAU as well and travel ball. So our multi-purpose room rentals have not picked up just yet because of the mass gathering limits. But I'm pretty sure as we approach, November, December, that'll pick up as well.
Do we have the same restrictions that gyms and other things have in terms of our activities, or because we're a municipality, are we exempt from some of those?
No, we've been staying with the same requirements. When we resumed, our open play activities, badminton and pickleball, we set capacity limits. We've been doing health screenings when they arrive, which includes the temperature checks. So we've been adhering to the same requirements. Now, summer camps were a little bit different because summer camps we were allowed to exceed 10. So most camps we did not, but we did have that exemption if we exceeded it by a few kids.
Are we doing temperature checks of everybody that's coming in?
Yes, every visitor that comes in a facility, including staff, volunteers, they stop at the front desk. Some groups that rent our facility, they do it on their end. Like, for example, Yes I Can Basketball, they do their own health screenings. Okay. And we kind of monitor that. But everybody else, they stop at our front desk.
Good.
Yeah, I've got a couple of questions. Maybe it's not the point. The community center, our two biggest revenue generating sources are the community room and the theater. And I understand the community room, how we can do spacing is not a difficult thing, but is there any plan in effect for distancing or what to do with the theater, or are we waiting for guidance from the state and then figure out what to do from there? Because that thing is shut down absolutely cold, and 10 people, it doesn't even pay to open the door.
Yeah, so, we are adhering to the maximum indoor gathering, whatever rules. Now, with that, you're right, the theater does present an opportunity to, maximize, I guess have as many people as you can have and still be physically distanced. One example, now it's not a rental, but talking to HR, idea is to have some of the town training in the theater, because that is one room where the number of employees that come in, they can be, apart and still hold the training effectively.
But in other words, we haven't come back. We don't know about opening the theater back up to the ballet, to Matthews Playhouse, to the band. There's no contingency plan yet in place for how to do that. But if I understand you right,
Broke up a little bit. You said there is no contingency plan?
yeah. There's no. In other words, there's not. Are we planning now for what happens when we can open that back up again, and how we're going to do it, or are we just kind of wait until we have the okay and then work from there?
I think we have a good idea of what we're going to do as far as precautions. Now, what we do physically in the theater, if there is some things we have to put in place, I guess we need to work on that if depending on what the capacity becomes, if it's anything other than 100%.
Okay. And one more question for you, since nobody else seems to have. I know you guys opened parks on the 4th. Have we had any issues with the parks being open, or everything's going smoothly there?
Well, Michelle shared a couple of concerns that people have, which I understand, asking about frequency of cleaning the equipment, maybe some other related type questions, but no issues. Give it a week, we'll see. But yeah, I mean, people were using the playgrounds anyway. Go ahead and call it what it is. They were using them, and I don't expect any big downfall of.
We haven't had any mass gathering. You look on the news and you're seeing beaches and parks seem to be the areas where you're having these, large gatherings. Whether it's picnics or whatever. We haven't had any of that yet, or have we?
Not to my knowledge. Believe our police department, they're pretty diligent about going around and looking at. Well, in conversations, I hear about them looking at the gatherings, of course, in bars and restaurants and such, but imagine it's the same sort of enforcement in parks, just discouraging people from not obeying the rules.
Okay, and I guess one more thing for you. We had sent an email around about whether we continue on Zoom or we're going to go to face-to-face. I got the impression that we're going to be Zooming for a while. I just want to be sure I understand you correctly on that.
Yeah, so when I sent that out, it was the town board back in March, made all of the advisory committee meetings virtual. And they just simply lifted that as of the last board meeting. So it was just an opportunity to ask, did anybody want to Zoom meeting in person? Most of the advisory committees, they're still meeting remotely. I didn't expect us to change, but wanted to present that as an option. And actually today in our staff meeting, we held a hybrid type where 2 people were, in through Zoom and the others were in person. And I think it went pretty well. We did add a webcam to the big TV that's in the room. Mm-hmm. And so that's where the Zoom was, sort of playing, so they could see all of us and we could see them. And it worked fine. If that sort of the small steps we take, if we even want to do that.
Anybody else? All right, Corey, I guess on to your director's report, although we may have hit some of it already, but where is Corey? Oh, there he is.
All right, we've got, like you mentioned, we opened the playgrounds on Friday. So we talked about that. So in October, we do have our town mini planning conference. One unique thing about this mini planning conference is the format. So traditionally, the way we sort of present information is, each department comes in and they go for it, they're on their own, and it's everybody's individual department making a pitch for what, they want to see in their individual department. Format wise, we are taking a more broad overview of the town, really looking at things in a more holistic way. One best example I can give is Parks and Recreation and Public Works. So we're going to have a sort of call it composite presentation. Where do we see the town in the next 5 years and the next 10 years? Parks is going to lead right into Public Works and needs for maintenance, which leads also into public safety and monitoring that's going to have to take place, especially with Purser Halsey Park. So it is exciting because, at the end of the day, it does come down to budget decisions. And at some point, there's winners and there's losers, right? Every department can't always get everything they want, but I do think the approach we're taking is going to help everybody to see the big picture, and sort of help town boards see where certainly some of the ideas we have and get feedback on what they see, and again look at it in a more broad view than what we have done before.
I think one of the things, it's sort of an opportunity right now because we aren't doing lots of activity to really do some really good planning for the whole town. And I'm real pleased to hear that we're doing that, Corey. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, it should be a good time. Well, good time. It should be some productive meeting. Yeah. So with that, Mecklenburg County and their playbook or the revamp of their master plan still continuing. If you haven't gotten the emails, the next public input meeting is September 24th and September 26th. It's of course through, I'll say Zoom, but whatever format they use. Mm-hmm. Let me know if you don't have that email and I'll forward it to you. You do have to register, and then you'll get an email reminding you, and you can get the login info there. So if you do have an opportunity, the 24th is a Thursday and the 26th is a Saturday. So if you have a chance, share your thoughts. The dog park in Purser, Holsey Park, making some progress. We do have we're planning a cleanup day. Cannot tell you the date right now. I'm going to say it's October 24th. And that's where we're inviting groups to just come help clean the park. A lot of the tasks that are involved with developing the dog park is simply landscape. It's removing bad stuff, getting out of the way, and then putting in the fence and the water line and such. So we're going to put a promo flyer together, and I'll certainly send that out. Certainly want you to participate if you have a chance, and help throw some stuff into a big dumpster. It's fun. COVID-19, remote learning. And Charles can share some more information, but we are moving forward with providing the supervised learning space for, I'll say CMS kids, but actually CMS, and it could extend to Union County also. One piece of exciting news is, I believe it was Friday, the COVID-19 Relief Act was changed, or I guess updated, and there was additional funding created, in some cases specific to what we're trying to accomplish. So there's $20 million in grant funding, or roughly $20 million. The Triangle YMCA is sort of that granting organization, and it's going to be an application throughout the state where we submit our program and essentially ask for funding to help fund what we're trying to do here in Matthews, and that's provide that supervised learning space.
Can you give more details about supervised learning and like who you're hiring and where you are, or is it just pretty vague at this point in time?
Charles, whatever you can share.
Sure. So we're actually using our internal staff that we already have on board. We are seeking new staff members. So there's a job posting online for a virtual learning attendant. And again, we will serve as, facilitators. So we're not necessarily teaching. Our main goal is to make sure the students stay on task. They're at their assigned meeting at the correct time, and they complete their work. And as soon as they do that, that's when they'll have an opportunity to do some of the fun activities that we're accustomed to. But our main goal will be to complete homework and schoolwork first. Right now, our design. What are your hours? 8 to 3:30, Monday through Friday.
Thank you.
Yep. So right now.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Charles.
Yep. So we're planning to serve 40 kids. Our goal is to open it up to town employees first who are in need of childcare. And after that point, then we can open it up to the general public. Just got off a Zoom call right before this with CMS. We will have the contract in hand, hopefully by Friday. And at that point, town staff and most likely, the legal team would have to review it, sign off on it. So we're still probably a week away from actually starting the program. So right now, the earliest date that I think we'll be able to start is the 21st.
So this is a lot more than just giving a place where they can use broadband, for example. It's a hands-on kind of situation, correct?
It is, and it's going to be a little bit of a challenge because each kid has a different schedule. So we would have to actually get the schedule from the parents or get login information. We may actually have to have access to Canvas, which is the platform that the school district utilizes to make sure that the kids, again, are where they're supposed to be at the correct time. So, it'll be a little bit of a challenge, but, we're definitely up for it.
What's the cost involved?
Right now, the cost is $95 per week per child. However, we are offering sibling discounts and discounts to students that qualify for free or reduced lunch. And also, we are doing scholarships on a case-by-case basis. And I believe the Elevation Church, they have committed to providing some form of support to help offset or to maybe, provide some scholarships as well. But I don't foresee us turning away any child because they can't pay. The only reason we would turn away a child is because we're full. I think that's our goal, is to serve as many kids as possible, specifically those that may, have a lower income.
Do you foresee? Two questions. What is the cost for the free and reduced lunch students? And do you foresee, for example, I work with coordinate a thing with a high poverty school that's a few miles away from, and I mean, our church supports them. It's Greenway Park. It's on Monroe Road. I'm curious if there would be. I understand the county, the city employees county employees would have the first thing, but do you foresee some and could somebody out of county that's in Charlotte-Mecklenburg right over the line qualify?
Well, as far as that, we do have to enter into a contract with CMS in order to serve CMS kids.
Right.
So the same thing applies to students that attend Union County schools. So we have to go through not an application, but a contract or agreement process. And that most likely will apply to any charter school, private school as well. So the first step is to get the CMS agreement in place, use that template to give to Union County and then any other private or charter school.
Are you going to start serving the Matthews, since it's in the Matthews Rec Center, are you going to start working on the Matthews residents first, or is it all of CMS students are eligible?
All CMS students are eligible.
Yeah, I would think it'd have to be like that.
Okay, so we wouldn't try and focus just on since it's in the Matthews Rec Center, we wouldn't try and focus on Matthews first, or is it just in places other than the Matthews Rec Center?
Our program is just at the Rec Center. That's kind of like the hub right now, but we do have plans in place to expand it to do learning pods at the community center as well.
Okay, cool. And then would there be transportation provided, or would it just be you've got to drop your kid off there in order to get them there first?
Yeah, right now we are not providing transportation, or that's more or less the parents' responsibility. And also lunch, it would be the parents' responsibility. The good thing with CMS, all students are eligible for free lunch. So all they have to do is apply for it and, have a way to pick up the lunches, either from a bus stop or from, I think, 12 locations around the Charlotte-Mecklenburg area. But that's free through December 31st. So that's something we'll help spread the word so parents can utilize that resource.
A lot of the sites, I think, that are involved, because I've been on a lot of calls with, obviously, Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools, a lot of the sites are actually, somehow the lunches are going to the sites. Is that not a possibility for you guys?
Unfortunately, it's not, because we don't have, as far as the rec center, we don't have the storage for it. So we don't have, a full size refrigerator, because what they do every day, they deliver the lunches and then the breakfast for the next day. So we would have to have adequate space, for the lunch. For the breakfast for the next day, and we just don't have it right now.
I thought CMS was giving them a week's worth of, basically had moved to a program where they're getting, a week's worth of breakfast and a week worth of lunch at once as opposed to every day. And I thought that had been changed. Just, okay. So
It's working. You get a box.
So there are two different programs. It's the Charlotte Eats,
Right.
or CMS Eats, and then it's this second program that the Department of Agriculture, I believe, mandated or provided funding to allow for every kid to eat free through the end of the year. So I think that program has taken precedent over the paid program since it's free. So I don't believe that the 40 meals bundle is available right now.
Can you
from my understanding?
Can you send us a link or something when things go? When obviously a lot of things are happening rather quickly. When there's an opportunity for kids to apply, can you send us a link to that?
Absolutely, and we're just waiting for our agreement to get in place before we, do any advertisement. But as soon as we do, as soon as we get the approval, I'll definitely, share it with Corey, and he can, share it with the board.
That's great. That's wonderful. Thank you.
thanks, Charles. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right. That covers anything else in your report, Corey, or we're on to old business? Corey, you're on mute. Corey, you're muted.
Can't hear you.
Now he's just playing with us.
All right, gotcha. So no, that was all I had to share.
All right, old business. The big thing was the tourism, and I've got a question that hasn't appeared to be addressed. Last year, we gave tourism money for a number of projects that probably had to be canceled because of COVID-19. My question is, how do we deal with that? I'm not suggesting we make them give the money back, but what I'm thinking about is maybe with those organizations that were unable to spend the grant money on a specific project, that they have to account for us how else they spent it and how that benefited tourism or the other goals of the program. And the idea being we only have to do this with the groups that got money that are reapplying, with the understanding if they don't do that, maybe they will be disqualified from money this year. But it seems, I don't want to penalize them, but we have to do something, because the Playhouse is the one closest to me, and obviously they couldn't do their June show. I know they've done other things. They're doing other events and other things in the interim. I assume Ruggerfest, I think, had to cancel one of their deals too. So I'm just wondering, it hasn't been addressed in any of the materials I've seen, and I'm just wondering, one, what we as a group suggest, and two, what the town has been thinking about it if they have.
Yeah, the only group that I spoke directly to and sort of talked through this issue with is the Kiwanis. One, because I'm in Kiwanis, and I wanted to make sure it looked clean. And we did just ask them to return the money because Matthews Alive was canceled, and they, plan to apply again. The other part
have any other groups returned their money?
No.
We have to decide whether the proposal is going to be you've got to return the money or a prorated portion of it, or we're going to allow you to justify what you did and still be eligible, or just forget about it, treat it out as free money. I'm just not sure exactly, how to deal with that issue. And quite frankly, I'm tied to the Playhouse. Best thing to happen is guys keep your money and move on, but I don't really think that's necessarily fair thing, at least without some accounting for what happened to it.
Yeah, I do think if they have not already submitted their post-event report, we'd certainly ask them to make sure they got it in, certainly with some, just like you said, some explanation of what the money was used for, if it was, and if it wasn't, just talk through how potentially could be used in this next upcoming fiscal year. And I guess we'll just make some decisions, some individual decisions on.
Right, but if we're going to do that, I think we probably want to get an email out to all of last year's recipients to let them know that this is going to be expected of them in addition to the application process.
I agree.
So nobody's blindsided. And we're talking, I think it's 20 days away, the deadline. So I'm just concerned, I think, a lot of them can probably justify it. and that's fine. If not, then maybe the issue would be then if you can't justify, you're not going to be eligible this year. I don't know how we want to deal with it, but I think something has to be dealt with that situation.
Corey, is it a possibility that some of them are saving the money to hope to spend it in this coming year? Do you think that's happening with some of the groups, or do you know?
I mean, I imagine, honestly, I'm really trying to recall the winners right now.
I can't remember either.
I mean, a number of them took place
Mara,
prior to, say March. Mara was one that they were one that did not receive
right. That didn't apply this last year, did they? No. I can't remember who else did.
The Charlotte Ballet, they delivered their event. I had already received their post-event report. I'll dive through it. Top of my head, the only potential, the blah, blah, blah chamber, I guess one of the events that they listed, Playhouse and Kiwanis, I think were the only three that there would say even be a discussion about.
But it wasn't, I think Ruggerfest had 2 events, if I remember right. I don't know if they both got off or just one of them.
Yeah, I'll have to confirm.
But what I'm saying is for those people, we need to kind of decide pretty quickly about how we're going to deal with them, what we're going to require, so that when Sandy and Susan and Harvey get together with you, that at least that's there, because you may very well decide that, guess what? You've not accounted for last year's money. You've not returned it. We're going to rule you ineligible. I don't know how you want to deal with it, but we need to have some kind of plan before we go in.
Great.
Yeah.
And also let the organizations know that they can provide whatever documentation we think we're going to need as to that issue.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll put some language together and send it out to this group. Just give me your quick feedback on it, and we can make a quick call on it and get the info out to those groups that potentially could.
I mean, guys, what is everybody else thinking about? What are your thoughts? I'm the only one who's been opening my mouth, so please jump in here and bail me out.
Yeah, so I like the request to account for what you did with the money if your event or how you were planning to spend it didn't happen. My only pause is the timing of it and it being subsequent to the application process. I wish we would have thought of this and have it included in the application process.
Yeah, we should have.
Yeah, we still got 2.5 weeks, or we can extend the deadline. We could try and extend the deadline out slightly, just with the idea being that, if you didn't account for it, you got to tell us what you did with this money.
And that shouldn't be all that complicated if you want to, really shouldn't take them that long. But John, you're right. We should have done it earlier.
Yeah, but it is what it is. But yeah, if the calendar permits, I like the idea of going back and asking for that from those that submitted applications. If they were repeat.
Yeah. And
it's only a handful of it's only the folks who got money last year, and not all of them.
Yeah.
It's anybody who hasn't already filed a report about how they dispersed the money, so that whatever organizations are missing that's who we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't anticipate any of the groups being made ineligible. I do think, given what it was, their goal of their event was to bring people into Matthews. Well, guess what? We weren't bringing people into Matthews. I think there could be some leniency, but I do think you're right. We just need to have that conversation about it.
I know the Playhouse has gone to all kinds of online events that they've been doing, which they probably will argue was tourism related. I don't know what other groups have done, or if the groups if they haven't done something, if they can come up with a palpable plan, what we're going to use this money for, different than what we're asking for now, then we can just kind of roll it over and say, you've got to report on both, next year. I'm just trying to figure it out, but this is an issue that just sitting out there. And obviously these groups would have loved to put on their programs. It's not their fault. It's just how life worked.
Yeah. Yeah, let me have another conversation with Hazen and just sort of get his feedback on it. But I think we can put something in place to just ask those. honestly, I'll send something out to you guys very soon.
Yeah, and my general approach is let's be fairly lenient with this. Let's not, put them to the fire because, they're stuck in the rock and a hard place. But at least that way we have some accountability. And if we don't have that, at least that gives us the option of saying, guys, we can't, tourism money has to go to somebody else next year, because you basically are sitting on money for a project, you're sitting on money to use.
Yeah. We'll figure it out and get something that's fair.
All right. Otherwise, you guys, Sandy, Susan, Harvey, and Corey, you're going to sit with them on this too and go through the apps?
Yeah.
How you all did it?
We haven't done it.
When you do it, I know you've done it in the past.
Yeah. So we're going to have another Zoom call. Once the applications are in, I'll scan and send them out to everyone. And we'll just talk like this and rate each application and go from there. I don't think we've settled on one date. I think, Sandy, I know it was you asked me to just pick a date. And we'll go ahead and get that nailed down here this week also.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else on old business? I know that was from the last meeting. That was the only bit of old business we discussed. Mark's updated us on the Veterans Project.
Yeah.
Everything else has pretty much been in stasis, right?
Pretty much.
Hey, I do have a question.
Go.
Can you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we hear you.
Hey, so the mural, I noticed that you had mentioned on the notes that the mural in the library was kind of being updated, right? You're going to expand it. Now, what about any other murals? I find that this is a nice time that people can start, walking the streets. Is it possible to get something back up?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, can we
there's an idea
start
about
that conversation?
one more time.
Can we start that conversation again? So do we have to, don't we have funds for like the wall poetry and such?
We do have funding this year, specific to public art. We can certainly start it. If we can either start with ideally we start with an idea for art, and then just sort of let that move forward to placing it at a location. Or if you have a location in mind, we can certainly reverse it. And I
have a couple locations in mind, so I can send and submit it to you guys for consideration, but just to see if it's a possibility. Yeah.
I think Deb's right. I think this is a good time to do that. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, no worries. I have a lot of time to think.
Yeah, have we given any thought to a video art tour of Matthews? In other words, getting someone out there with a camera and just going through all the stuff we've got, putting it online somewhere, We have. I think we sort of talked through it as a department. At this point, it's, just simply the still pictures on the website. But yeah, there is an opportunity to create something a little more interactive, call it visual, being a video and look at the still photos. Yeah, or even some music on the background or something. It's just a way to get kind of the art that we're working on out there and around, and maybe start to establish our reputation a little bit as a more arts friendly community.
Do you have a town videographer?
We have
Never know.
We have an police officer who's just happened to be gifted with a camera.
Stop it. Who is it?
Tim Aycock. He's what is his title?
He's like the community representative.
Yeah. So if you haven't already seen our Welcome Back to the Facilities video, Tim was one that shot that.
Ah, really?
Yeah. So now you say that you've seen the video?
No, I haven't. I haven't seen anything. Where did it come out of? Was it announced?
Is it on the town website?
Yeah.
Was there an email
on our website?
Yeah. It was not broadcast out.
Uh-huh.
It's on the website. I will send everybody the direct link.
Okay, good.
And
Yeah.
Charles is the star of the video.
Oh, cool.
Oh.
Great. Yay, Charles.
So is it possible to talk to Officer Aycock about creating a video like that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is that like a conversation that we should have? Is that something that you should do, or can we do, or what is
We're
that?
talking about a video like of the existing art.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hey, if you want to help. we'll
Yeah.
do that.
Got it. I can.
Yes.
I like talking to him. He's funny.
He is. He's a good guy.
And I will do that.
All right. Any other old business, guys? Anybody else have anything that was in the hopper you're curious about or want to talk about?
Incidentally, the video, is that the welcome back from Matthews Park and Recreation? Is that it?
Yeah.
Guess what? I posted it to my Facebook page. When you're saying that, I thought, wait a minute, I think I do know that. I posted it. I saw it on Facebook. That was a good video.
Very good.
Oh. Now I feel bad. Now I'll go. Okay.
I'll send you the link.
Thank you.
All right. Then on to new business. You got new committee members. We still have a vacancy. We've had it for a while.
We do.
And the town closed down applications. I know she opened them, closed them, and then opened them again.
So it's closed. It's closed now, and we've got a number of applications. Lori did warn me a number of them. I guess a lot of people were able to list multiple committees that they wanted to be on.
Yeah.
So including those that wanted to be on, some multiple other boards, I think it was 13 that listed Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee as one of those they wanted to be on. So if you guys are game, if you want to make it part of October's meeting, at least to discuss the applications, or if you want to make it faster and do some sort of email, sort of narrowing down, I can send you the applications out electronically, and we can discuss them before or during the October meeting.
Yeah, what we've done in the past, I mean, some of you were here, is put them out there and assign them a value 1 to 13. They get points, and then in other words, when we come back, we'll total them, and at least we'll have a list, most desirable to talk to least, and then we can start working off of that.
Yeah.
Just a thought as a starting point, because we may have this is number one, and they may say, hey, no, I want to go sit on, I'm going to be sitting on this committee instead, but at least it'll give us an opportunity to line them up and try and get them to come by. I'm not sure if we're even going to do a face-to-face or just invite them in you'd have to invite them in on a Zoom type deal.
Yeah, I think we've invited them in on Zoom. So would you want to review the applications, say rate them, narrow them down, and then maybe even be prepared to invite them to the October meeting? Like already have it narrowed down to 3?
My suggestion is let's get them out and narrow it down. Then we can talk about it at the October meeting and invite them for November. That way, if there's any issues or whatever, we can kind of go back, but at least we'll have a jumping off point at the next meeting.
Here's something I struggle with a little bit, Corey, is that we have some people that apply for every committee, and it's just like, I just want to be on a town committee. That's a little different than I really want to be on Parks and Rec. And sometimes, I don't quite know how to weight those applications, because if somebody applied for all the committees, then is there really maybe, and that's all right, but they just have a genuine interest on being on any town committee as opposed to Parks and Rec. And so I struggle with that when I'm rating them. Because if I see they want to be on every committee, then I sort of rate them a little bit lower, and maybe I shouldn't. I don't know.
I think that's fair if that's your feeling. I mean, everything's subjective. You're going through these things. Obviously, you're basing at least your initial on a one sheet page of paper.
Right.
But that's a concern. Yeah, if they're on every committee, yeah, that's certainly something to think about. As opposed to this is what I really what I like.
Okay.
Hey, I have a question. So I forgot how the application process went. Was there like a listing of what committees you wanted to be on? Like, number 1 preference, number 2, 3. So is it possible to like kind of flush out the ones that don't have Parks and Rec as the first one? You know what I mean? I don't remember my application because it was a long process, if you recall.
Yes, but I'm not sure I kind of remember you checking boxes. I'm not sure if they were.
I think it's just checking boxes.
I remember check boxes as well.
Yeah,
you don't put I prefer number 1.
Yeah, Debbie, that would be better. I wish we did have that, but no, we don't. I don't think. I think it's just check boxes.
Okay.
When you say that, it does.
But, why don't we get them out in advance? You can look at them. We can either, try and get a preliminary list together before the meeting, or if you want, we can do it the next meeting. That's fine too. I just...
Once we ranked them, we just sent it to everybody. Didn't we do it like that, Howie? Like we ranked all
we did. In other words, everybody send back, what order you'd rank them in.
Right.
There's 13. Number one will get 13 points and go
Right.
down. Just give everybody the point values and then rank them that way.
Okay.
Kind of like good old weighted voting,
And we all saw what each other said. So I think that sometimes that's helpful.
Yeah, no, that's not a problem. I mean, if you send them back, what I can do is I can scan them and send them all. If everyone just sends their list back either to everybody, or I'll scan them in one packet and send it back out.
Okay.
With a cover sheet, totaling it out. And you guys can also check my math, because as an attorney, I'm only good at dividing by 3. Everything else is questionable.
Yeah, I like that idea. Let's do it.
It'll save us a good deal of time too, and give you a chance for the next month to get to it when you feel like it, as opposed to oh damn, it's Wednesday at 2:00. I gotta have this together by 6.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and get that out. Actually, I think I have it on email now. I may forward it later tonight, so you guys go ahead and have that. And
if you guys are going to Zoom on the subcommittee, give me some heads up. I'm trying to avoid going over and be face to face to Harvey, because between having COVID and his other issues, he's fairly susceptible. But if necessary, I will go over there and teach him how to Zoom at gunpoint.
Okay.
I'll give you a heads up. We'll pick that date very soon.
All right, does anybody else have anything, or we're good? I don't know.
We're good.
Guys, if not, thank you for taking the time. It's good to see everybody up and around and healthy, except for Susan. We know what she's up to, but you said she's doing well.
She's doing great. She said send everybody her best.
And Harvey's got some health issues, but he's doing pretty well right now. He's just kind of waiting for some answers as to what goes down the road.
Harvey, let me ask a question since you mentioned Harvey. The last time I talked to Harvey, he said, walking from this was a while back, but walking from one room to the next kind of tired him out. Is he still like that, or has he gotten more energy?
This is part of the new medical issue.
Oh.
And, I don't feel comfortable sharing it with you because I know about it, but there's a significant medical issue that they're dealing with right now, and by the end of the month, they should have a treatment plan together.
Okay, good. I was just concerned.
I mean, he's fine. He's comfortable. He's doing well. Mentally, he's fine. It's just they've got to deal with this issue.
Okay.
I apologize, guys. I didn't think to ask whether I could share it or not, and since I haven't, I don't want to give all any details.
Right.
But I think he'd like to participate. I wish I could get him to Zoom, because I think his life would be a heck of a lot better if he could just, because he's got a new iPad, he can work Zoom. We just have to get him the mechanics of what the issue is.
Right. Well, if you're somebody, I'm isolating the same way he is, and frankly, if you're isolating, Zoom keeps you sane. I think I counted 1 week I had 9 Zoom meetings, so that's what keeps me sane right now.
All right, guys, anybody else have anything, or we're good? If not, thank you all very much. Appreciate your time and your thoughts, and be careful out there.